All right, welcome back. We are doing some repair at this point, and anytime that you're down to doing arts and crafts to fix mistakes that happen in your design, you're usually having a bad day. Having a bad day. We're going to do some arts and crafts. All right, so I have at my disposal a piece of magnet wire that I took off of a transformer. It was something that I had in my scrap bin there from a previous teardown, and some Kapton tape. Kapton tape is just very thin. It's very popular in electronics. You'll see this kind of stuff used. Oh gosh, all sorts of things from flexible PCBs. Sometimes, or they'll have Kapton to 3D printers. They use that sometimes as a build surface. It's relatively common, so this isn't very wide, 4 to 5 millimeter, but I'm going to use it for two things. The first thing is to cover up some holes. So let me switch to the microscope view, which I think is this one. And the first thing is the easiest thing. So inside here we've got some holes that aren't aligned very well with anything. So there's a problem with the land pattern. So all I'm going to do there is just cover that bad boy up, and then I'll come back with an X-Acto knife in a minute, and we can trim that stuff off, but that'll prevent an electrical connection from happening. That's the easy fix. Actually, something, I can probably do that just with a single piece. Let me peel those up and make my life a little less hectic. Let me just put a single shorter piece on, and then I don't have to worry about getting a X-Acto knife around and messing anything else up. See if I can't just cover all that up with one at something of a oblique angle. And the answer is yes. Yes, I can. Okay, next problem is substantially more significant. When I was doing all of that work to pull up that old Pico, well, when I did that, I had an error. Oh, I hate when tape does that. Peels off at some weird angle. That's okay. It happens sometimes. Anyhow, I need to reestablish an electrical connection on that pad, because that connects to my switches. Now this particular layout has the switches arranged in a matrix. So the easiest thing for me to do, and the thing that I would probably do if I wasn't trying to demonstrate things to you tonight, I would probably just run a jumper wire from the Pico to any one of the other 4 or 5 plated through holes and call it a day. That is the easiest thing to do. But that is not what I'm trying to demonstrate tonight. And I will say it's been a long time since I've done what I'm about to do. So there's every reason to believe I'm going to screw it up again. But I'm going to run a wire from the trace to the pad. Now, there is a via down here that I could very easily solder to. That would be easy. That would be something you should do if you can, but I figure since we're demonstrating how to solve problems, I might as well solve the worst problem that you can ever have, which is a fully lifted trace that you really don't have any way to tie into. So I'm putting down some Kapton because it's available, but any tape would really do at this point. You could use Scotch tape. I'm just trying to protect the surrounding area for the craziness that's about to happen next. And it's important that I protect the surrounding copper because that is a ground, and I don't want to accidentally expose it. But I'm about to take off some of this solder resist. Hopefully. I got chubby fingers that aren't grabbing things. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so I've isolated a section of the trace that I am going to try to strip the solder from, and I've now got a fiberglass pin that I'm going to use to try to do that. We'll see what happens. Ooh, it's not looking good. Doesn't look like it's going through that. It's just going through my tape. So can try thicker tape, or I can try seeing if I can't open that up a little with some tools. Although I don't know if any of these tools look sharp enough to do it. Might be better off grabbing an X-Acto knife and just scratching the surface. Solder mask is supposed to be, you know, scratch resistant. Well, gonna need something sharper. Good news is, if I do mess this up, there is always the hope of going back and tapping in at that via, and if I mess that up, I can always do the easy thing, which is just run a wire out to the out and re-intercept that net at another point. So let's see where my X-Acto knife is. That's a drill. Huh, where is my X-Acto knife? It's the kind of thing you want to know where it's at so you don't plunge your hand into it. Let's see, let's see. So far, it is a mystery. thought it was close. If this doesn't work, I will come up with yet another plan, or we will just solder to the via. Let me look in one other spot here. See if it's floating around. On the desk. Does not appear to be the case. Okay, well, it wandered off somewhere. So we will just try the same technique, but I will try tapping into that via instead. So I'm still going to use the magnet wire. There it is. But magnet wire has enamel on it, and that enamel coating has to be taken off before you can do anything with it. Sandpaper works really well. I don't have any handy. Might be able to burn it off, I'm not sure. That might just leave a bunch of debris in your way. Boy, I tell you, never the easy way, is it? You can also scrape it off. But the important thing is that you end up with some nice shiny copper at the end. And I don't know if I'm there just yet. See how that stuff's all nice and shiny? That's what I'm looking for. Then I need a little bit of solder right there on the end, or on the via that I'm going to connect to. You know what might be easier? If I just shove this into the wire, into the via cavity. Which one is it? It's this end. And it looks like I need a little more exposed copper there. Didn't quite make it out far enough. Whoops. But the important thing is never give up. If you get frustrated, take a break. I've got fiberglass coming off all over the place. And this is thin copper wire, or magnet wire. Have a tiny bit of fiberglass there that needs to get out of there. Okay. Is it pretty? It's not pretty. Is it an improved rework method? It is not an approved rework method. But will it work? Maybe. You never know, right? You never know. But it at least gets us back in the running. And I can trim off a little bit more once the Pico goes back down. But the Pico still needs a little bit of work before it is ready to try soldering again. So when we had this issue earlier, I worked mostly on the board. So let's heat these things up. And then I will clean off the solder. Then after we clean off the solder, we will clean off the flux. Interestingly though, on the bottom side here, the ones that had the most trouble were the ones that I tacked, the ground connections. Those are the ones that look the absolute worst. And I couldn't tell you why if you asked me. What's different about those pads, or is it the fact that I did them first? So everything else seems to have good flow. Don't know. So the reason that I am going to clean those off before I put more solder on is I used that low temp flux, if you remember, and that stuff is great for doing what I did, but it is lousy for making a solder connection, or a good one that's going to hold. So I'm just trying to soak up as much of the solder off the surface as I can. Hopefully get this thing as planar as possible. Sorry if I'm not staying on screen there. Okay. Need a fresh end, and then we'll do the other side. Then it's defluxing time. Then we're going to flux her up and do it all again. Boy, what a mess, I tell ya. All because I have a bad part in my library. This problem happened a while ago. almost have it. Okay. Big old sticky mess. So now we just have to get a little defluxer here, a little isopropyl alcohol. Still plenty of flux on the other side of that. Let's see if we can't get a little of that gone. Okay. And with what's left, we'll get that up off the work surface there, or at least a little bit. All right, so here's what we have. We have our board with a not great trace repair. We've got those holes covered so that I can't get an electrical short. And then we've got the Pico. It still needs a little bit of cleaning on the top, but I cleaned off the bottom and I'm ready to give this another go. Now something I'm going to do this time that I probably should have done last time is use the mount holes for alignment purposes, just so I don't have to fight it. Uh-oh, what's that? Oh, that's blue tack. Okay, I was going to say, did I take off the solder mask there? But no, it's just the blue tack. So I must have had it upside down on a little bit of it. It's not a big deal. Okay. What wants to help me with alignment today? There's a little wire tie. Seems to be a good little aligner. Do I have a couple more sitting around here? I do. Let's use 4 of the same ones. Oh, are these too big? These are a different size. Well, that's no big deal. I'll just cut off the extras so they don't interfere. We can always yank those out in a minute. I'm just using the pointy part of a small wire tie to act kind of like a taper plug. You'll see it on this next one. I'm not using the whole wire tie. I'm just using the end of the wire tie. Bada bing, bada boom. So that should give me adequate alignment on everything without any extra work or really having to worry about anything. Gonna put some new flux down And the first one of these I'm going after is that one I repaired. Let's get this lined up. Oh, where is it? There we go. We're on our road to recovery here. Not many problems that can't be solved. I mean, you can destroy boards to where you can't fix them. That's not what I'm saying. It's just try not to panic. Try to come up with a working solution. Get a little more in there. I just wanted to tack it, and then let's go for the bad one. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the middle and work my way out. I'm not exactly in the middle here. I'm close, but I'm making a priority to stay on the screen for you. See how with that elevation, how much better this stuff flows under there? Okay, this board will not survive another desoldering episode, so you know, something I need to tack it down on the other side before I do anything more. I forgot to do that. I have colleagues who I guarantee you have been, well, I don't guarantee you because they're busy. They probably don't have time to watch all my shenanigans, but if they did, they would scream at the screen a lot. Whoops. So just moving on down. Just working my way back and forth. Oh. Just a few left on this end, then move to the other end. And in no time at all, we'll be done. All right, we are rocking and rolling now. Guess we'll start about here and cruise on down. Okay, I need to pull back off that one. Don't want to leave too much heat on there for too long. But yeah, it's those rectangular pads that are acting differently than the others. I couldn't tell you why. There's really no reason that they should. Okay. Now back to the other side. I'm going to heat up that one again. Almost there. Then we'll have to clean her up and we'll be ready for the next step. All right. I think with all the schmutz around there, I'm going to have to do a cleanup and then inspect to see if any of those need to be retouched. But we're back in business. Can remove these guys now. My little alignment pieces of junk. And you might be able to see the Kapton underneath there. That is preventing the short circuits that might occur in there. So anyhow, that's it for tonight, folks. Just error correcting, and then it'll be time for I guess more parts on the other side. Eventually we're going to finish with all these surface mount and move on to the through holes. So still have to clean up all that before it solidifies tonight. All right, have a great night. See you next time.